Hello, this is Drag Attack, and this is Plus Profile number 42. A Plus Profile is where I take fans of the upcoming MMORPG Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and we find out a little bit more about them. We hear their stories, we find out if they like PvP or PvE better, and we just get to know them. This is super fun. So today we have Eliv. I know Eliv a little bit because we've played EverQuest together on the Thornblade server. So I'm really excited for this profile. Onward and upward. What will your name be for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen?
I'll either go by my current forum name on the Pantheon website, which is Eliv, E-L-I-V, or I'll go with Ryldrin, R-Y-L-D-R-I-N.
What race class combination are you going to play for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen?
So usually I'm an elf. Just kind of a little bit of background here. When I first got into MMOs with EverQuest 1, right after Velius launched, I was a high elf mage. That's actually where the name Eliv came from. Took a small break, came back as a wood elf druid named Wildewin. After that, went to EverQuest 2, took on the name Ryldrin. Not sure where it came from, just kind of popped in. But as time went on, I ended up having two different characters then, Ryldrin and Eliv. But in Pantheon, what I'm thinking about doing, I've got a couple of combinations in my head. I'm thinking either a halfling or a dwarven rogue, or possibly a dwarven warrior or paladin. I'm not sure yet.
How did you hear about Pantheon Rise of the Fallen?
Now that one I don't really remember. It was back around 2013, 2014 when I first started following the game. I was actually working as a Microsoft retail store representative, and ended up buying a computer off of one of my coworkers specifically for this game, not realizing what kind of funding was going on in the background, how long it would take them. But I've been following the game fairly loosely for about 6 to 7 years now. And the reason I say loosely is I got a little too engaged in Vanguard pre-release. And while I did enjoy Vanguard, I was also disappointed in some of the things that happened. And I kind of want to avoid that this time.
What feature are you currently most looking forward to in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen?
There's definitely a few I'm interested in seeing, the acclimation system being one of them. The disposition system is really cool looking. But my big thing is that perception system. Once I actually really get into an MMO and start paying attention to the lore, I like to kind of pick up on things, so that perception system being kind of a reward for that, it's just perfect if you think, or at least I think that it is.
Do you have a guild for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen?
For Pantheon, I have not attached myself to a guild as of yet. Currently playing EverQuest on the Thornhold Time Lock Progression server as part of the Knights of the Napalm, Nathan Napalm's guild. I will definitely be finding a guild at some point or another. Just the question comes down to, is it going to be after launch or before launch?
What is your favorite MMORPG that is not Pantheon, and what did you like about it most?
My go-to for the longest time was EverQuest 2. However, as I just mentioned, I'm playing EverQuest 1. I've kind of burnt myself out on EverQuest 2, but the reason that was my go-to for so long, honestly, was just the amount of content that I was in at ground level. Coming back to EverQuest 1 as part of that time lock progression server has allowed me to see a lot of what I missed as far as Classic and then Kunart goes. Because like I mentioned, I didn't start playing EverQuest until after Velius came out.
What is your best MMORPG story?
The big one that came to my mind recently just happened within the last month. Going back again to the fact that I'm playing EverQuest right now. First epic I've actually completed was for my rogue, and that just happened thanks to the Knights of Napalm. Aside from that, I can't say it's my best, but it is one of my most memorable. Going back to my original character in the original EverQuest, Eliv, the High Elf Mage. The guild I was a member of back then, Wildfire Coven, very roleplay heavy in the server that we were on. and I ended up marrying in-game the guild leader. The ceremony, as it were, took place in, I think it was Southern Felwith, the High Elf home city. I believe her character was a wizard. It's been a long time. God, it has been a long time. That was about 20 years ago. But it was just, in my opinion, it was very interesting being at that age. I think I was 20 years ago. I was 14 at the time. So for me, having that kind of event happen in game, I don't remember 100% if it was a guide or a GM that was involved, but having that involved, the whole guild turning out, other people not part of the guild turning out, just for that, I thought was kind of interesting.
Do you like PvP better or PvE better?
I'm very much a PvE player. As far as PvP goes, duels, I'm fine with. One of the reasons I'm not the biggest fan of open world PvP, I played Ion very briefly, and my now ex-wife, but at the time wife, was playing with me, and just going through doing quests and then somebody coming to try and gank one of us. I get that there's areas and people that love PvP, and there's nothing wrong with that. More power to you. It's just not my cup of tea. And having to fight other players just so I can do a quest was kind of irritating.
Are you main for life, or are you an altaholic?
I'm pretty much main for life. What ends up happening is I'll find one or two classes that I just mesh with very well with how the mechanics work, and I'll run with those two classes. Like I mentioned with EverQuest 2, I had two characters. One was a wizard, one was a necromancer, and I played those two to max level. But it also depends on the game. Rift, for example, I made a rogue and that was it. Vanguard, I made a rogue, that was it. I just got so entrenched into those classes. So it really comes to the class and the game.
Do you like crafting? And if so, which kind?
I do not. I love crafters, don't get me wrong. I personally just don't really have the patience for some of the crafting systems out there. You never know, that might change. It all depends on what goes into the systems. However, I have no problem if there's like mining or skinning or something like that. I'll pick up a pick or a skinning knife and get some skins and some ore for crafters if necessary.
What is your favorite gaming food and or drink?
I don't really have one.
What is your favorite piece of gaming hardware?
I can't really say I have a specific piece of gear in general. I'm a tech kind of guy as a whole. So usually if I find a device I like, it's not just for gaming, it may be for other things. But in the closest thing I can find to the vein of this question is the Razer Naga mouse. The one that has the 12 keypad on the side of the mouse. I had one for EverQuest 2, had it for Rift. I think Logitech had a version of it, and I tried that as well. And I might end up buying another one going forward. I'm not sure yet, but that would have to be the closest thing I can think of.
Do you have any gaming profile or social media links you'd like to share?
Nothing specific. You can find me on the Pantheon forums as Eliv currently. Aside from that, I'm in the Pantheon Plus Discord. I'm in the Knights of Napalm Discord. In both of those, you will find me as Rildren.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention?
Overall, Pantheon Plus specifically is a great thing if you ask me, which you did. So just having that platform for a community to get around, even if they're just loosely following the game like I do. I can still pop into the podcast every now and then and catch up on news, find things that I might find interesting. Aside from that, I understand that this is an MMO. People get very invested in these emotionally. Just remember to be nice to each other out there.
When do you think Pantheon Rise of the Fallen will release? Month, day, year?
I don't have a month, day, year type release format for this, and my reasoning for that is simple. It'll come out when it's done. With that said, like I mentioned, I've been following this game for 6 to 7 years. Yeah, I'm chomping at the bit waiting for this game to come out. I've increased my pledge twice, going to beta and then alpha test capabilities, and I really want my hands on this game. But as I mentioned as well, what happened with Vanguard, you know this as much as I do, Drac, that game drastically changed based on a publisher coming in. So in my opinion, if Visionary Realms needs to take their time to get the game they want specifically, take your time, I'll be here.